Hello and welcome back to Linux Academy. In this video, we will create a Flask application that will use JSON to respond with the courses available at Linux Academy and details about those courses. First thing we should do is set up our virtual environment. To virtual environment, we're going to call it JSON app. If you remember from our Django video, whenever creating a full application, it's always preferred to do it in your own personal virtual environment. That way your app is not having any dependency issues with any other app. Let's go ahead and cd into our directory that we just created. Let's activate our virtual environment. Now let's install the libraries that we need to be using for our app. I'm going to do pip install bs4, lxml, and Flask. So let's get right into it. Open up a text editor. And we're going to let's start off by importing the modules we need for our application. Let's import URL lib, import URL lib. I also need beautiful soup. And as well as JSON. We need to import Flask. So from Flask, import Flask, URL4, and response. First thing we need to do is create our app, which is, we'll call it Flask __ name __. This is how you instantiate an application in Flask. Now let's define a function that actually gets our course data. Define course data. First thing in the function will be a dictionary called courses. And the rest of the contents of this function are going to be exactly the same as the web scraping example that we had before. Since that is a lot of text to type, I will skip through that quickly. At the end of the for loop, for each of our courses, we're going to add a dictionary with the instructor, the length of the course, and the URL. And now let's just return courses from our function. Let's create a dictionary called courses and get the course data in it from our function. And now we can start writing the Flask specific function. The first one being a route to the slash, which is the first page somebody sees when coming to our website. So underneath that decorator, let's create our function called information. And it's simply going to return the text. This application gives information about the Linux Academy courses while web scraping and returning the output as JSON. Let's create another one, app.route, and this time this is for /courses. Let's define a function called allCourses, which is going to create a JSON structure out of our courses dictionary. And then create a response using the response function available to me from Flask. Pass in the JSON structure. I'm going to give it a status of 200 and MIME type, which is the type of page that's going to be returned. It's going to be application JSON. And finally return the response variable from our function. Let's also create an app route for a course. As part of the app, you can create a variable. When you call course / a course name, that course name will be presented as a variable to our application. Let's define that function, define course detail. And course name is going to be the variable that we had obtained in the line above. Pass that in, say JS equals JSON dumps, courses. And we only want detail about a particular course name. We're going to sort the keys and we're going to do an indent for so that the JSON is easy to read. And let's do the response equals response JS just like before with the status of 200. MIME type application JSON. And return the response. And lastly, we need to do start up the application. If name equals main, which is this is the main function. Then lastly, we're going to do app.run, and we're going to set the host equals 0.0.0.0 so that the web server is going to bind on all the IP addresses. And now I can simply do python myapp.py. At this point, it says the server is running on port 5000. So at this point, if I go to my labserver.com/5000, I'm going to get the welcome note. Then I could do / courses, which was the second route we created, and it gives me a JSON of all the courses that we have. And lastly, let's pick one of these course names. And say course, and then give it the name of the course. I'm going to get the JSON information about just that course. That is it for this video. If you have any questions, post it on the community, else mark it complete.